takes place between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Events occur in real time.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Full Press Coverage Radio Live. It is Thursday. That's right. It is October the 22nd, 2021, and we are getting ready for Week 7 in the NFL. And we're going to be kicking it off with, obviously, Thursday Night Football this week, which we have, of course, the Denver Broncos at the Cleveland Browns, and we're going to be jumping into that game as well as all of Thursday's action, or all of Sunday's action, including Monday, because this is our last show of the week. And it will be the last show until possibly midweek next week, as I am taking off, or I have at this moment already taken off to Massachusetts, and will be out of commission for a few days. So, John, I'm saving you the trouble of having to deal with me for almost an entire week. How happy are you?
Well, part of me is happy, but part of me is sad. I still like talking to you every morning. But, I am proud that since we've been doing the show more often, I'm getting you to like Aaron Rodgers a little bit more. I think he's your second favorite quarterback in the NFL, although I know you love Mac Jones because you're a Patriots guy, so you have to like Mac Jones. But I'm getting you in the direction of liking Aaron Rodgers. I think you like him. I think secretly you admire him. You like the fact that he can be an a-hole, and that's actually completely different than Russell Wilson, who, as we saw on the Sunday night game against Seattle, going through all these like fake mechanisms and, still trying to run the offense. It's like he's so transparent and so corny.
Fake.
Exactly. If Rodgers is hurt, he's probably nowhere near the field. He's probably in another state.
Yeah.
Right? He's probably not even with the team. He's like, screw this. I've got nothing to do here. He's probably in Hawaii somewhere, he's authentic. And yeah, Russell Wilson is corny. But we're getting you in that right direction. You're never going to stray off of Mr. Brady. I get that.
Well, I'm getting there, but at the same time, there are still things that I sit there and chuckle. And I mentioned it in passing as we were ending Tuesday's show. His trash talking of the Bears, I thought was funny. Again, I appreciate it and I certainly like it, but at the same time I laugh because it's like, it's akin to Tom running up to Fireman Ed and trash talking the Jets, and it's like, okay, I get it, you've owned the Jets, but like, I mean, it's the Jets. Like, come on now.
Right.
So there are still things that I will never let him live down, but you're right. I would say he's certainly up there. I do believe, and I've said it many times on the show before, that he is the second best quarterback in this league. So whether or not that makes him my second favorite, not necessarily meaning the same thing, but perhaps.
Yeah, you're impressed with him.
Yeah, of course, and I do like Mac Jones because I am a Patriots fan, but it's not just blind likeness. I've explained for many reasons, and of course you can back it up. And my consistent views of quarterback play seem to lend credibility to my belief that I do actually like Mac Jones. So, anyways, we got a lot to get to because, like I said, this is the last show of the week. It's airing here on Thursday, and of course, we won't be back potentially until next Thursday, but maybe we'll get lucky and sneak a show in during the week, early next week. We'll see what happens there, but just kind of stay tuned and we'll give you an idea what the schedule's like. So we're going to take this time to kind of go through the schedule, talk about, well, what we think is going to happen because, I think we're usually pretty good at that. So, of course, since it is Thursday, wink, we are going to start with Thursday Night Football, and that is a matchup that maybe a few weeks ago was far more intriguing than it is right now. It's certainly intriguing if you're a Browns fan because, well, they're in a pretty desperate situation right now, but it is the Denver Broncos at 3-3 heading to the Cleveland Browns. And my initial thought is, I mean, a few weeks ago, maybe I picked the Cleveland Browns. I don't know. As mediocre as Denver is playing right now, Cleveland is hard to figure out. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? And I want to go a little bit more into this one because, again, it is our Thursday night matchup this week. So, of course, it's one of the primetime games, and we always get some good primetime games. So far, that's the motto of this season. So what do you think about this one?
Look, Cleveland was my Super Bowl pick, and up until a couple of weeks ago, I felt pretty good about it. Injuries started to hit, and quite frankly, and I'm not sold on Baker Mayfield. Like, I think they have the best roster in the NFL, excluding quarterbacks. Unfortunately, quarterback's the most important position. So that leaves me in a tough spot with the Cleveland Browns. Also, a ton of injuries on the offensive side of the ball. Their offensive line, which is the strength of the team, is banged up. They have two legitimate running backs that are banged up. We know Odell Beckham Jr. just doesn't seem to fit with Baker Mayfield on the field. Jarvis Landry's been out. Their defense is depleted. They're at home, and I think their talent is still good enough to get them through this game. Denver got off to a good start, but you never felt it was real because they just beat the dregs of the league. And now that they're facing the iron of the league, they've been losing and losing pretty consistently. Look, and again, we do mention Aaron Rodgers a lot on our broadcast, and Tom Brady. This could be the Aaron Rodgers Invitational. I mean, if he's not with Green Bay next year, chances are he's with one of these two teams. I think they're the two best spots for him to go in terms of good rosters, good defense, and obviously he'd be a massive improvement over Baker Mayfield and Teddy Bridgewater. But in this particular game, I think Cleveland will find a way to win. They better, because they're going to lose contact with Baltimore that, quite frankly, is surprising me continuing to play as well as they're playing with all the injuries they've had. Look, Cleveland had injuries. Baltimore's had injuries. Baltimore has dealt with it much better, and I maybe think that speaks more highly of Lamar Jackson being the better quarterback than Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, and look, Baltimore's on a 5-game winning streak right now, and doesn't seem like they're slowing down anytime soon. I'm with you. I'm going to take Cleveland in this one as well. I think you're right on the money when it comes to this is the Aaron Rodgers Invitational, because if you're going to look at teams, across the landscape of the NFL, well, last year potentially maybe it was the 49ers, but I'm assuming, barring any sort of drastic turn of events, at the very least, you're having Trey Lance start next season as your quarterback. So that's not an option. So immediately you look at Cleveland, a team that is perhaps finally going to have enough of Baker Mayfield, and then a team like Denver, who seems to never have a quarterback until they have a quarterback. And that's only once every, 15 years or so. So maybe they're due to snag one with Aaron Rodgers, and maybe he does what Peyton Manning does and wins a Super Bowl and brings them to relevancy again for at least a couple of years. So, but in this case right now, we have Teddy Bridgewater versus Baker Mayfield, and for lack of a better option and the fact that they're at home and maybe a little bit more desperate, give me the Cleveland Browns in this one. So
me too. Yeah.
That's our Thursday night preview. Short and sweet, get to the point. Let's move to Sunday. More traditional picking of the games. We're going to talk about some of them, but again, we want to make sure that picking these games are the priority. So we're going to start. That's right, John, with your guy, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers hosting the Washington football team. Last week, Washington picked off Patrick Mahomes twice. I just had to get that out there. And this week, they get a chance to go to Green Bay and try to do the same to Aaron Rodgers. Unfortunately for them, Aaron Rodgers is not Patrick Mahomes. So give me Green Bay in this one, and I think they actually win fairly comfortably because, well, I think the football team's defense, despite some of what they did last week, has taken a bit of a step back this season.
Yeah, we've been waiting for them to be an elite defense. And how many times have we said this, Ian, that one year you can be an elite defense, the next year not so much, because there's not a huge difference between the 5th and the 15th ranked defense. And defense is a lot about effort and health and all of that stuff, and that's not necessarily something you're in fortune. Exactly. I mean, look, the Patriots that normally a bend don't break defense. Well, this year they've bent more than they normally, and they've broken more than they normally have. But offense tends to be year in and year out. Like, not surprisingly, Tampa, Green Bay, Kansas City, Buffalo, Dallas, they're like the best offenses, and not dissimilar from last year, but the defenses can change. I think Green Bay should be fine in this game. They've gotten off to a 5-1 start, playing 4 games on the road and then recovering from that opening day debacle in Jacksonville against New Orleans. So they've got 2 tough games after this. They play a Thursday night game at Arizona, and then they go to Kansas City to play Mahomes and the Chiefs. So they better button things up and win this one, because those next 2 games are going to be very difficult. I think they'll be solid in this game and get to 6-1.
Next, we have the aforementioned Kansas City Chiefs heading to Tennessee. Tennessee obviously coming off that huge Monday Night Football win over the Buffalo Bills. Derrick Henry, we mentioned it on Tuesday's show. If there's ever a non-quarterback that does deserve to be in the MVP discussion, it's certainly Derrick Henry. And look, I'm not one of these people that think the MVP discussion should diversify to other positions. No. The MVP discussion is about quarterbacks because, well, they're always the most important, so they're always going to have a step up. However, when you have a guy like Derrick Henry making the impact that he does right now, I think it's hard to ignore his candidacy. And guess what? At home,
Mhm.
I'm taking Tennessee Titans in this one because, first of all, this isn't so much to do about the Chiefs' offense. I just don't think this defense has an answer for Derrick Henry. I think the Titans will control the ball, and when they can control the clock, control the ball, and run the football down the Chiefs' defense throat, I don't think this is going to be a matchup that Kansas City is going to like, and they're going to fall to 3-4. So give me the Titans in this one.
Interesting choice, because right now with Kansas City, I don't think anyone has the confidence that you normally have in picking them. Like you said, they're 3-3. Even a couple of their wins were shaky at best. A lot of turnovers by Patrick Mahomes. Their defense is a sieve. And yeah, good luck stopping Derrick Henry. I'm going to go with Kansas City in this. I'll take the great quarterback over the great running back. But this could be an incredible shootout between a quarterback and a running back, which you normally don't see. Usually it's two quarterbacks putting up a lot of points. But Tennessee's defense is no great shakes either. Their pass rush isn't all that good. And, we'll see what Mike Vrabel can cook up to kind of disguise coverages for Tennessee to combat Patrick Mahomes. I think this is going to be a exciting, kind of weird game. And I'll go with Kansas City. But if Tennessee wins, would not be a surprise.
The Falcons are heading to Miami, and unfortunately, this game is not in London because it seems right up their alley when it comes to London-style games. Look, Miami's a bad team. I'm surprised because I actually thought not necessarily Tua, but I thought the team in general was going to be a little bit better. And it looks like they got old very quickly, and their talent level has dipped, and it doesn't help that I think they have at best a mediocre quarterback. So in this one, I even at home, I don't think that they're good enough to beat a Falcons team that's not really that good either. But give me Matt Ryan and the Falcons over at this point Jacoby Brissett. Unless Tua's going to play, I don't know what the timeline is for his return, but either or, it doesn't matter who's under center for the Dolphins. Give me the Falcons in this one.
Yeah, I'll take Atlanta in this one again. I'll go with the better quarterback. And Atlanta's been competitive in some of these games. I mean, they played Tampa pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
That was a one-score game, and then Matt Ryan had 2 pick sixes, and that made the final score look, more one-sided than it was. They have a decent offense, and I think they'll be able to put points on the board. So I'll go with Atlanta.
Next, we have the Jets heading to the Patriots. Now, here's the thing: by virtue of the Bills losing on Monday night, it keeps open a potential for this Patriots team. Now, we've talked about this team at great length. There's a lot of things that they've left out on the football field, a lot of opportunities, a lot of points, and, well, relatively a lot of wins. You win and keep somewhat pace with the Buffalo Bills, who are off on a bye week this week, you could potentially, late in the season, make a run at this division. I know it sounds crazy, but at 2-4 and the Bills at just 4-2, that's not a insurmountable hole to climb out of. And this Patriots team, if they finally start putting things together, they could really make make some noise here in this division. But it starts with winning and having to win a game like the Jets, and I think they do. So give me the Patriots at home. First home victory of the season.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, it's the 5th home game of the year, and it'll be their first
give them credit. They're home. People keep knocking them for playing, being 0-4 at home. But think about who they've played at home, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, they played the Bucs.
They played arguably the 2 best offenses in football, right?
Saints
Dallas and Tampa Bay. The Saints,
Dolphins
Saints
obviously being the one thing, and it's like, all right, you're a fumble at the end of that game away from easily walking out with a victory against a bad team in his first start as a NFL quarterback. So it sucks that they're 0-4, but it's not like they're losing games to the Bengals, the Jets, the Jaguars. I mean, you're talking about potentially 2 of the best teams in the league that could meet in the NFC Championship game, and then a pretty good team in the Saints when they want to be. And on that day, they wanted to be pretty good. So,
when you face the Saints in odd-numbered games, you're going to lose. If you face them in the even-numbered games, you're going to win. It just seems New Orleans. There's always one team, Ian, that is like good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, like the entire year. They never put together a 2-game winning streak or a 2-game losing streak, and they end up a 500 team. Obviously, this year with 17 games. New Orleans looks like an 8-9 or a 9-8 team, and they're going to be maddening to watch because some weeks they look good, some weeks they don't. And again, I think that falls back to the quarterback, who's wildly inconsistent. The Patriots should be able to win this and feel better about themselves. We've said this a million times. If Tom Brady was still under center for the Patriots, it'd be 4-2, maybe 5-1 right now.
Mhm.
That's the difference. A great quarterback like that means to a team. But they've had some nice things happen. But then it's maddening how they're losing because that's never how they used to lose. They never lost on special teams or with a pick six or with a messed up defensive call late in the game. Like those are things we never saw from the Patriots, and now we're seeing them. Now, again, there's a lot of new players on this team, a lot of new coaches. Maybe it's just going to take a half a year to really get in unison to be as good as they're going to be. But they'll beat the Jets this week. They should. And I want to see a really clean, solid win. I want to see like a 27-10 win, like a real solid win where you walk away and say, okay, they're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, walking away saying that's exactly what you're supposed to do to the New York Jets. Speaking of very inconsistent, Sam Darnold and the Carolina Panthers head to the New York Giants, and inconsistent, I'm talking about Sam Darnold. We know who the Giants are. They're pretty consistently bad. So, hats off to them for being consistent at something. I don't know what to make of Carolina at this point. We could be getting Stephon Gilmore's debut for the team. We don't know yet, or at least at the time of doing this broadcast, we don't know. I think the Giants are going to pull off an upset somehow. Some way, somehow, I can't explain. Give me the Giants in this one.
I think at this point, Carolina is still buying into Matt Rule's program because he has a 7-year contract. With Joe Judge, I think they've tuned him out, the Giants. At least that's my feeling. And if that's the case, I just think that Carolina is more motivated, more focused. Look, pick Sam Darnold or Daniel Jones as your quarterback. Good luck. I don't think much of either one of them. I'm going to go with Carolina in this. But again, they got off to a good start. But like Denver, they got off to a good start by beating some mediocre to poor teams.
Yep. And
then when they started facing real teams, they started to lose. I'll take Carolina here, but the Giants they look like they've just thrown in the towel already, and they're just devastated with injuries on really both sides of the ball.
The next handful of games might be fairly obvious, at least the majority of them. First, we have Baltimore in the cap of the 1:00 games. Baltimore hosting Cincinnati, and as much as I like Cincinnati right now, I don't think Baltimore is going to lose right now to this team. So other than that, Lamar Jackson's playing at MVP level. Give me Baltimore in this one.
I'm going to pull an upset here and say Cincinnati because Cincinnati impressed me last week. They had a really tough game the week before against Green Bay, lost in overtime when neither field goal kicker could seem to make a field goal. I thought they were going to be flat going into Detroit, and Detroit, as bad as they are, they've been competitive in half their games.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati destroyed them, and I think Baltimore's had so many emotional, tough wins. I mean, they came back and beat the Colts. They were so impressive against the Chargers. They beat Kansas City. They look like the best team in the AFC right now. I think they're ready for kind of a bounce down game, and I think Cincinnati can pull the upset. Just kind of a surprise pick here.
All right, I like it. I almost did it, but maybe this is a little reverse psychology on my part, hoping Baltimore loses. Next, we have the Raiders hosting Philadelphia. Last week you said the Raiders would have been your lock of the week. I still like them this week against Philadelphia. I think their offense is going to be able to produce some points in this game, and I'm not quite sure if Philadelphia is going to be able to keep up. So give me the Raiders at home post John Gruden.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a big move on the Raiders that Gruden is gone. I'm not a big fan of Gruden personally or as a coach. I think it's an upgrade now at head coach, and it almost seems now like David Carr can be a little bit more relaxed because I don't think Gruden is the easiest guy to deal with as a coach. And I think that the Raiders, who do have some really good talent, not enough to really contend in the AFC, I think they'll be able to beat the Eagles on Sunday.
All right, next we have the Los Angeles Rams hosting those Detroit Lions. And as much as the Lions have been in it in some games, I don't think that they're going to be in it too much in this one. I think Los Angeles, much like they did this past weekend, rolls to a pretty comfortable victory over the Lions. And in the Matt Stafford Bowl, the Stafford versus Goff showdown, and potentially one of maybe Goff's last starts as a Lion. If
sounds it, doesn't it?
Yeah. If you're reading between the tea leaves, let's put it that way. So, give me not the Lions. Give me Matt Stafford and the Rams in this one.
yeah, I mean, this looks like a classic blowout. I mean, the Rams are really benefiting from a soft schedule here in the middle part of the season. You go from the Giants to the Lions. You know, you basically feel like you're having 2 extra bye weeks. And the thing about Jared Goff is, in games he started without Sean McVay as his head coach, he's 0 for 13. And last time I checked, Dan Campbell is his head coach. And I think Campbell is giving 100% effort here. I think he's sincere about his passion and all of that stuff. I mean, his messaging is a bit, antiquated. But the Lions had been playing pretty well up until last week when Cincinnati destroyed them. But, yeah, I mean, the Rams are going to name the score here on Sunday.
Yeah, and potentially another score-naming game coming up next. The undefeated Arizona Cardinals hosting the Houston Texans. Again, I thought some of these last few games were going to be pretty obvious as to who we think is going to win, and I think this is one of them. I think Arizona stays undefeated, and they take a pretty easy Sunday to defeat the Texans. So give me the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, I think Houston is the worst team in football. I mean, I know Detroit doesn't have a win yet, but they've been competitive in some of the games.
Yeah.
Houston is just god awful. I mean, they're in tank mode, right? I mean, they're going to need a quarterback. They should end up with the first pick in the draft, and then they can move on from Deshaun Watson and get a lot of first-round picks and start to rebuild. But yeah, I mean, Arizona, you could make a case this is the best team against the worst team in football.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Another team that's in the mix for being the best team in the league. The Buccaneers are hosting the Chicago Bears, and last year obviously was the site of the, four-finger, question mark game. Did Tom Brady really forget what down it was? Obviously, the Bears upset the Bucs last season. I don't think that's happening this week. I would anticipate a potential return by Rob Gronkowski. He's kind of pushed that limit when it comes to his recovery time, plus coming off the extra few days rest with the team playing a Thursday night game last week. So he could potentially be in the lineup regardless if he's there or not. I think the Buccaneers I think they're starting to really round into form, especially on offense. And when the offense is rolling, you just need a pretty good defensive performance to win most games. And I think this is one of them. So give me the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I agree with you. And we know how psycho Brady is. Like, he may throw for 5 touchdown passes because of what happened last year against Chicago. He has a long memory of, people slighting him. And it was kind of a meme. It was a joke when that happened. And the guy still went on and won the Super Bowl. So he's probably looking at the Bears and saying, I'll show you. And weren't the Bears one of the teams rumored to be interested in him? And who knows what he was talking about. You're going to stick with that, whatever. Maybe it was Mitchell Trubisky. Maybe it was Jimmy Garoppolo, whoever.
I think he sees the Bears. Patrick Mahomes.
You're going to stick with that bum Mahomes in Kansas City?
Hey, they would have won the Super Bowl.
Probably, I know, somehow. I know.
I'm just saying, it would have been an upgrade.
For that one, didn't I? But it's interesting. You mentioned San Francisco, and we'll get to the games in a second. I just want to throw this in there when you said it. San Francisco had an opportunity to sign Brady 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he was there as a free agent, and by all accounts, maybe if they upped the ante, they could have got Aaron Rodgers. Instead, they got all these draft picks and ended up with Trey Lance. We don't know what the hell Trey Lance is going to be. We know what Brady and Rodgers are. And here's the 49ers still with the question marks at quarterback. Get the established quarterback when you get the chance. That's kind of my whole thing here. Even if it's 3 or 4 years, then you move on from there. Look at what Denver did by getting Peyton Manning, right? They went to 2 Super Bowls and won one. They weren't doing that with just about any other quarterback. Go make the move and go for it.
Yeah, well, San Francisco, again, very much regretting choosing Jimmy Garoppolo over.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny because Bill Belichick still gets slack for choosing Tom Brady over Jimmy Garoppolo when it was the right decision. And we clearly now know that San Francisco made the wrong decision choosing Brady, who, by all accounts, wanted to go there. So speaking of San Francisco, John, 49ers, Sunday Night Football, hosting the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts actually looked pretty damn good this past week. Carson Wentz, give him credit. He looked good. How long that's going to last, I don't know, and I'm not going to bet any money that it will. I like San Francisco at home in this game. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be close, but I think San Francisco wins this one.
I'm going to pick Indianapolis. I was high on them when the season started. I thought their roster's really good. It seems like their roster's been built to really be a productive team. but they can't get the quarterback right. I mean, Andrew Luck retires prematurely, and Carson Wentz, who the last couple of weeks has looked closer to an elite quarterback, right? I mean, they gave Baltimore a hell of a game a couple of weeks ago. Probably should have won. And we see how good Baltimore is. So I'm going to go with Indianapolis in this game. These are two wildly disappointing teams. They're both dealing with injuries, and I'm not sure if the coaching staff is all that they're made out to be. But I'll go with the Colts in an upset here.
Yeah, and speaking about, I guess, disappointing so far, as if you were thinking last year about this matchup, you'd get Drew Brees at Russell Wilson, but this time you're getting Jameis Winston at Tyrod? Who's even throwing the ball for Seattle these days? I don't even know.
Geno Smith, and they may sign Cam Newton.
That's right.
Cam Newton's vaccinated now.
Newly vaccinated.
Maybe he goes to Seattle.
Yeah. Yep. Well, maybe if he was before, who knows? Anyways, so Monday Night Football, Seattle hosting New Orleans. Again, can Seattle win this game without Russell Wilson? Sure, because I think you could get the Jameis Winston bad game. You're always at risk of that. So. In this one, I do think that they squeak out a victory. I don't think it's going to be anything awe-inspiring. I just think being at home, playing against the New Orleans Saints team that I'm still not quite sure what they are, I think Seattle does use their fans to help get over the hump on this one. So give me Seattle.
So New Orleans was impressive their first, third, and fifth game. Not impressive their second and fourth game. So this is their sixth game. They won't be impressive. Yeah. I'll take Seattle at home. Again, two teams that probably aren't going to contend for playoff spots, I don't think. I mean, New Orleans is on the outskirts of contending. Seattle is just going to implode at this point without Russell Wilson. But I'll take Seattle in this game.
Yeah, and I think we're right on the same page. So there you have it, folks. There you have it. There's our last show of the week. There's our picks. There's our predictions. And please hold us to it. Follow us on Twitter at FPC Radio Live. I am at IGLEN31. And, of course, you can find John at JohnSapp25, and we will hopefully catch you at some point in the middle of next week. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy this week's games, and we will talk to you